As you guys can tell by the thumbnail of this video, I am no longer the proud owner of a Canon C100. And frankly, for the last couple years, I really wasn't a proud owner of the camera to begin with. Let's get into that. Why? Why would I sell my Canon C100? It's a cinema grade camera, and really I didn't have any cinema grade equipment to upgrade to or still had in my pocket. How could I justify getting rid of a cinematography camera as a cinematographer? Well, first off, money. I am poor child in the middle of quarantine and needed money. But it doesn't just boil down to money. See, it's nice to be able to have equipment and be able to purchase equipment and have the money to do so. In my case, I was a starving artist. I've been working at a grocery store forever, and I didn't have a lot of money to begin with, but I didn't sell the camera just for money. It also goes into the amount of money I invested in the camera and did I get my money's worth out of it. And frankly, I wasn't getting enough business no matter how much I tried, and the C100 wasn't really retaining its value. So if I could get some of that value back in monetary compensation, why wouldn't I get that money back? Now you're saying, well, why not just make YouTube videos? Why not make your own short films and stuff like that? It's very true. It's a very good possibility. But for some of the things that I want to do, I need to be able to use that C100 in a freelancing perspective, and frankly, I wasn't getting enough jobs for videography aside from YouTube and aside from my little mini projects that made me feel like the C100 was worth it. And it was an unwise purchase to get before I was doing those things when 3 years ago I bought it. I also bought the camera 3 years ago, and it was 7 years old then, and it's 10 years old now. If I can get any money recouped back from that camera that is 10 years old, I think I'm going to get my money's worth out of it. And to be frank, it wasn't just the money that I could get back from it to start with. It was the codecs too. The codecs were starting to show age with even the heavy, medium color correction and all sorts of different audio failures. And the codecs were starting to fail in ways that I know my SL3 won't, and my other Canon cameras will not. So upgraded codecs, upgraded firmwares and softwares just allow for a better experience in 2020. It's not that the camera was bad per se. A good filmmaker can get a solid image out of that camera. The codecs were just a lot more difficult to work with in my post-production flow. And some of you might see this as an excuse, especially if you're in the real filmmaking world in Hollywood, but it's just so big and bulky. With mirrorless cameras and smaller DSLRs nowadays, like my Canon SL3 that I'm shooting on right now, I just can't justify carrying around that mount and this lens and this thing. And yeah, lenses are always going to be heavy, and there are going to be smaller cameras and adaptations and stuff like that. But with Blackmagic's series of cinema cameras, my Canon SL3, and the lenses that I have that are super lightweight yet do their job, I just can't justify carrying around a big bulky thing that's 10 years old to any shoot whatsoever. I am a little bit chubbier than I should be, and frankly, I don't work out much, and it's going to be a long shoot if I don't have this. Kind of a little bit, just a little bit there. So why? Why should you buy a camera at all? Why not use a smartphone? Why not find some other camera solution and never upgrade ever again? Well, because that's just never going to happen. People continually upgrade their equipment because things get better, things become more valuable over time to a consumer. Take graphics card land right now. Graphics cards, for those of you who don't know, are reaching a world that has never really been touched by gaming before, and that's ray tracing. And now ray tracing is in its infancy in the gaming graphics card space, and so there's not a lot of availability in games. There's not a lot of software that'll allow it to merge well. So ray tracing doesn't seem like a good option now, but 3, 4, 5 generations down the line, when NVIDIA comes out with their 6,000 or 7,000 series of GPUs, they become more worth it, and they become more integrated in softwares that we know and love, like Adobe Premiere Pro and Call of Duty. It's the same thing with codecs. It's the same thing with the software and firmware issues I was talking about with the C100. 3 years ago, when I justified buying the camera, that wasn't an issue. A lot of people were having issues with certain things and color correcting and all sorts of stuff like that. Now, with RAW getting even better than it already is, ProRes becoming the highest quality that a lot of people aspire to, you have to be able to edit your video and edit your audio very well, and the C100 starts to show its age. And that doesn't mean you should never buy a camera, because the C100 is still going strong for some people who know how to use the workflow properly and who know how to set up a shot a little bit better than I do so that their lenses give them some more headroom in the editing space. I am not that good yet. I have spent most of my life on DSLRs and upgraded to the C100 without really having used it for more than 6 months in school. So I'm not saying that you can't own something for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I wouldn't wait that long, but I would have an upgrade path. My Canon SL3 is clearly not what I want to be shooting on for the rest of my life, but it gives me opportunity to understand a Canon system that exists right now, so I can evolve with the Canon system rather than being 6 or 7 years behind it. So getting yourself to the forefront is probably a smart idea. I hope the little journey down my camera memory lane was interesting or helpful to some of you. If you guys have any comments, questions, suggestions about what camera you should buy or other things that I should talk about in the camera space or the film space and how I should realize this, that, and the other thing, leave a comment down below. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye.